Which are the best property markets to buy a home in, and which market should you be investing in? That's precisely what we're discussing today on Property Hotline. Hello and welcome. I'm Kavita Krishnan, and with me on the show is Amit Goenka. Amit is the MD and CEO at Nisus Finance. Amit, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Kavita. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you here, Amit. And let's get started with Akash Verma's question. Now, he says that he's invested in DAH Green Tech NX1 NX Byte in Greater Noida. Now he says he'll be getting possession in 2018 and he needs to pay some more, the balance of the amount. Now he wants to know whether this is a good property to invest in. He's already bought into it, obviously.
Yeah.
Should he be investing in this particular property?
So, Kavita, Akash has obviously gone into the belt of Greater Noida West or Noida Extension, which continues to be one of my favorite destinations because of the fact that it's a consumer-centric destination. It hasn't seen too much speculative buying or selling, and because of which the prices have reasonably remained range-bound for a very long period of time, only gradually inching up with the passage of time. So, therefore, the downside risk in this belt has been very, very limited. It started with 2,500 rupees as the selling price way back in 2010-11. Today it's trading anywhere between 3,200 rupees to 3,800 rupees per square foot. As far as this particular project is concerned, DAH Green Tech NX1, in which Akash Verma is invested, it falls in the Tech Zone 4 area, which is closer to Tech Zone 1, Ecotech 1, and some of the other mainstream locations of Noida Extension. They have obviously great connectivity on either side. One is towards Ghaziabad as well as going towards Yamuna Expressway. On the other side, it's connected well with Noida, connecting YDND to Delhi. So that way the location is obviously very strategically poised and placed, and therefore it will definitely grow and continue to draw interest over a period of time. The Greater Noida metro connectivity further lend itself to further upside and improve numbers. As far as the project itself is concerned, this region has ready to move in apartments as well. There are a number of well-known developers like Gores, Earthcon, Elegant, etc., who've actually delivered very high-quality developments, townships in this vicinity. This project, I understand, is by this developer who's really been a contractor. It's really a first-time sort of a development of this scale, to my understanding, and therefore the completion is something that you should verify whether 2018 is a sacrosanct number and whether there is enough protection in terms of confirmation of the possession date that you've been provided before you go and commit further sums of money, Akash, because the situation, the way we see it today in Noida and NCR in general, is that buyers are wary of making further payments unless they are provided a significant amount of assurance and certainty on the possession.
Amit, I would like to draw your attention to the chart that we are showing right now. Sector 88, of course, averaging around 4,868 rupees per square foot over there, and quite a roller coaster ride for prices. It's just been going up and down all over the place. If you look at the chart, my producer will put it up in a bit. But also, this is something that you've been constantly saying on the show. Apart from the fact that these are end-user-centric markets, these are also markets that are seeing a lot of supply coming in. So considering that Akash is looking for investment, how long would he have to stay invested in this particular market to actually see some kind of returns? And look at the chart over there. It's gone up and down.
Well, we'll have to take a look at the chart again, honestly, Kavita, because Ghaziabad and Noida Extension West, as I said, has been reasonably flattish. So, this property, for example, is trading at 3,200 rupees on the secondary market for residential and about 10,000 above in the, and that's the price for Noida Extension. You see, it's quite range bound between 3,200 and very, very range bound, actually within 100 rupees or so. And it will continue to be range bound. Now that deliveries are happening, I think the price momentum will only be seen starting from next year when a significant supply will actually be delivered. Because remember that a large part of the inventory has been sold already by most of the projects. About 70-80% of most projects have been sold out, and people are waiting for delivery, and that is really when you will see price momentum, when you see rents and other things happening in that vicinity. As far as the upside is concerned, I think there are equal opportunities opportunities also within Ghaziabad. It again depends on how much investment you want to make. This is on the lower end of the price band within the NCR region, because you're looking at 3,500 rupees or 3,200 rupees. Whereas if you go into proper Noida, you're looking at more like 4,000 to 5,000 rupees.
So how long does he hold on to this?
I think not more than 2020. I think you'll see a significant. I see prices stabilizing at about 4,000 to 4,500 rupees within much before 2020. If you're levered, obviously you'll make a much significant gains, and because you're looking at possession, you'll also make rental gains. So I think one is foremost important is to ensure that you are confident and you will get the delivery by next year, by which time you'll get occupation certificate, you'll get your RWA formation in place, and you can go and rent the property. I think that is most critical before you commit more funds. In terms of your price, I don't know what your entry price is, but I can tell you the market is definitely poised for an upside, especially this particular belt, because it has been trading at a very low for a very long time.
Right, Akash, good market to buy into, to invest into, but like Amit said, check with the developer when when can he really ensure possession. For that, of course, you need to ask him to show you all the documents, all the permissions, approvals, etc. And if the developer is not being helpful, of course, you can go and check with your local, your local government body, your municipal corporation, your ward office, etc. They should be able to help you with the status of the permissions for that particular project. Suman writes in and says that she wants to buy an apartment in sector 88A or 89A in Gurgaon. I hear that this is an upcoming location with good physical and social infrastructure. Is this a good location for both end use and investment? What are the current rates applicable to these areas? Sector 88A and 89A in Gurgaon. What would you say?
So Suman, very interesting question. I think once in a while we do get queries on this location. I mean, it's been in the spotlight for a very long period of time, almost as many as 5 years to my recollection. 88A, 88B, 89A were really conceived with the new Dwarka Expressway, and it falls right on the junction of Dwarka Expressway and Pataudi Road. Now, obviously, the issues of Dwarka Expressway are well known. We've been discussing it for a very long time, I think within the studios of Mirror Now itself. And you'll realize that there's been a lot of work which people are trying to do into trying to get this thing done, through government intervention. I really don't know when the Dwarka Expressway will actually complete. We hope it will be sooner than later, and that is really what's caused the tepidness or the volatility in the pricing in this vicinity, because it started with a very high expectation of selling at 8,000, 9,000, even 10,000 rupees a square foot. Some of the top developers have actually gone and built properties there, whether it's a Godrej, Vatika, Ansals, Ashiana. Some of the top names have gone and built projects there, and they've obviously started trading anywhere between 5,000 rupees to anywhere up to 7,000 rupees, depending on the brand and depending on the specifications, etc. However, the actual upside will really occur only when the Dwarka Expressway is complete and you can access it. There's still about 4-5 kilometers of very critical road which still needs to get connected, and thereby the utilities need to start coming into these projects. And I think till such time that this doesn't happen, it will always be a question mark. If you're a long-term investor, I always believe, of course, because of significant process that has happened in the last 1 year alone, the average prices have tad gone up since last year. If you were bought last, you could have entered at even 5,000 because people were desperate to sell in secondary markets.
But tell me this, when Suman if she does intend to buy into a property over here, what should she be checking for? Because from what we've learned, a lot of these projects also don't have basic utility connections. Now that is of course because the expressway is not being built.
Yes.
So is that something that she should be checking for, and can she really insist that all of those be in place?
Well, this precious little Kavita one can do, because strangely a lot of the projects have even been granted occupation certificate. Now it's very strange for occupation certificate to be granted without having the utilities in place. And so therefore, to that extent, because people have created some DG backup for power, have created some private water and sewage lines, etc., which is not really sustainable because it's very, very limited in functionality. They have been able to get occupation certificate, but really it is really the corporation and the city which needs to actually provide the utilities and the connectivity. And I think it will take maybe another 1 year before it's up and running. So I would still say that if you're a long-term investor, I think there's still value buying left as far as Dwarka and Dwarka Expressway is concerned. If you're going to be worried about this factor, on a continuous basis, then you'd rather not do this. I think there are opportunities within the same price band, looking at within Gurgaon, from golf course extension going up to the
So
Sona
essentially,
Road side
Suman,
of
if you would
Gurgaon.
rather not take the risk, and the Dwarka Expressway, as we've seen, is anyway a long gestation project and it is taking a lot of time. So if you'd rather not take the risk of waiting for that expressway to be complete to actually get some profits from the property you're buying, then you would be better off investing in some other market. Others, of course, you can stay put and wait like all the other people who bought into the Dwarka Expressway. But of course, get in with your eyes open and read and reread and get a lawyer to look at every document before you sign that. We also have Saurabh on the line from Bangalore. Let's take Saurabh's question first, Amit.
Yes,
Saurabh, what's your question?
Yeah, hi Amit. Good evening. Actually, I just 7 months back, I have bought a property. It's a local builder. Okay, so it costs somewhere around 27 lakhs for 2 BHK, 870 square feet. It's in Electronic City, Phase 1. So it's still under Gram Panchayat. So I just need to know what is the future of Electronic City, like 3 to 5 years down the line. So what is the capital appreciation which I can look at for?
Gaurav, can you please repeat? It was 27 lakh for what area?
870 square feet, approx 2,800 to 3,000
That's
square
right.
feet.
Okay. Electronic City Phase 1, and what is the expected possession date?
No, actually it's ready to move. I'm already staying in it. So
Okay,
I just
you're
want
already
to know
staying there.
what is the future of this Electronic City Phase 1,
Saurabh, are you concerned about the fact that it's Gram Panchayat because you made a point about it?
No,
That's
actually, I just
concerning
want to
you.
know what is the future, like what is the growth in Electronic City Phase 1? It's still under Gram Panchayat, so there is a chances of capital appreciation going like 5 years down the line where the corporation will come into picture. So I just need to know all those stuff, like, what is the,
Right. Amit, you can't really go wrong with Electronic City in Bangalore, right?
Well, you're right when it comes to absorption, Kavita, because Electronic City, especially Phase 1, has been a hot destination for ITES sector to start occupying it already, and it's been like that for almost a decade now. And clearly the demand in Sector 1, because it's also seen Phase 2, Phase 3, etc. come up, and Phase 1 still remains the more popular part of Electronic City. Now, having said that, you can clearly see that the average price roughly is about 4,000 odd rupees, whereas your buying price is reasonably good, and the fact that you have a ready to move in or an occupied property is even better. Now, having said that, clearly I think the supply is also tremendous, and I think the entire development of Southeast Bangalore has been very large given the outer ring road, and people have started looking at even other locations, beyond Electronic City and Whitefield, moving on to the outer ring road, Sarjapur Road, etc. Of course, they're far more expensive to that extent. So, one, I agree on your entry price. I think it's very attractive, and it's a good choice to have made, assuming that the amenities and specifications are at par with any other development that one sees in Electronic City. As far as the upside is concerned, I think it will continue to take time. There is tepidness in the market for sure. There is also ample supply. Your biggest strength lies in the entry price, also lies in the location, assuming again that the property is A grade property that you bought into. I would assume that the market average will continue at about 4,000 odd rupees, which means as far as you're concerned, you still have an upside of roughly about 30% to make on your entry price over the next couple of years, which is very good. And again, you don't have the rent outgo, etc. So to that extent, on an opportunity cost, you're actually making much more. But if you think you want to book your profits and get out, I think look at a price where you can get out closer to 4,000 rupees. You may not get it today, but chances are you'll get it in a couple of years.
So 4,000 rupees per square foot is a level for which you need to essentially wait, and then you can of course think of selling and getting out of that property that you bought in Electronic City. But it's a good market to buy into and stay invested in. We have Manjot Singh now on the line from Punjab. Manjot, how can we help you?
Yeah, I have a property in Sector 74A, Gurgaon.
Okay.
DLF Corporate Green.
Okay.
I'm having property in DLF Sector 74A, Gurgaon.
Right. We got that. Sector 74A, DLF Corporate Greens.
Yeah.
Go on, Manjot. What's your question?
So what are the prospects of should I hold it or should I sell it?
This is a
When did you
commercial
buy
property?
this? Yeah, and when did you buy this, and is it commercial or residential?
It is a commercial property, 1621 square feet area, and 8th floor on second tower.
8th floor, second tower. When did you buy it for? How much did you buy it?
It is a 5 year back. I bought
5 years back.
Yeah.
5 years back, and Gurgaon obviously has come a long way since then. Time to sell now?
Well, I would still exert him to hold on. You know, first of all, and I'm sure you've already made an upside in Gurgaon. Gurgaon had a little bit of a tepidness in commercial property, a softness because of the entire commercial asset class being down between 2012 and 2015. Since 2016 onwards, in the last 2 years, we've seen a tremendous amount of upside in commercial property, even higher than residential growth in terms of both absorption, in terms of development, and in terms of capital appreciation. So even if you did lose value, and I'm not sure what your entry price again is, but if you did lose value, I'm sure you're far way back up than what your entry price would have been. I think one of the best things that's happening for Gurgaon is that it's becoming a very, very hotbed for commercial development. It's overtaken Noida. In fact, a lot of commercial developments have restarted.
But Amit, also what we've seen is a lot of the commercial absorption that really did happen, the offices that really got taken on lease, was in Bangalore and Hyderabad. Gurgaon didn't get that much of the demand that went towards Bangalore and Hyderabad. So in that sense, should Manjot just exit that investment?
I mean, it's hard to get into a good product, and I think first of all, I think DLF Corporate Greens is a good product. I mean, if you would have a B grade product, and I would say possibly you want to book a profit and get out. But I think commercial property is a good hold especially, I don't know if it's leased yet or not, but if it's leased, then, or if it's self-consumption. But if you're unable to lease it for a significant period of time.
What is a significant period?
I mean, obviously you've held it for 5 years. So if you've even leased it for 3 out of the 5 years, then it's a good property. You've had maybe vacancy for 35% of the time, 40% of the time. And the chances therefore now of lessees coming back is far greater than what it was. Also, most of the development which is coming up in DLF, or whether it is including Behinds or others who've announced large format commercial developments, are really for the large corporates, for the IT, ITS, and for the financial and BFSI sector. So if you see the small office, which is really coming back into demand, especially with the tech startups, and clearly Gurgaon is also a segment for tech startups. It's not as large as Bangalore or Hyderabad, but clearly when you look at from an alternate to Bangalore, then the largest segment for tech startups really is Gurgaon.
So you're saying if money is not an object, hold?
I 100% agree.
How long?
I think even for the next 5 years, I would say just hold it for the next 5 years also. Commercial property is certainly going up. I think by any measure, any report, any research will indicate that Gurgaon commercial properties are reaching unprecedented highs. They're trading at as high as even 15,000 and 20,000 rupees a square foot in some locations. So, and I don't see that coming down. So clearly, and rents have gone up from what they were at 100, 120 rupees, have already gone up to 200 rupees and 220 rupees. So
Manjot, wrong time for you to sell. This is the time when you should be making your money after having waited for so long. So hold on for at least another 5 years is what Amit is telling you here, because the demand is going to come back, especially for the small office space. Time for us now to slip into a short break, but Property Hotline will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Property Hotline, and Amit Goenka is in the studio answering all your questions on buying, selling, and investing in real estate. Ajay has a question. He said he wants to know what is the future of Balewadi in Pune, and he wants to know what is the right price to pay as of now. How much growth can we expect in the future? Balewadi?
Well, of course, I think Balewadi is very well located because of Aund and Baner being in the vicinity, the Balewadi, park and, sports complex and university and so many things happening within that vicinity. So clearly it's a no-brainer as far as the micro market is concerned, especially because it's right accessible from the Mumbai-Pune-Bangalore highway. In terms of future of Balewadi, I think generally the future of Pune itself remains reasonable and strong. there has been a little bit of a slowdown, definitely, as far as Pune is concerned, to the point that it's not really crashed like in other markets like NCR, to some extent, parts of Mumbai or Gujarat, etc. But it has remained flattish for almost a year now. So I think that challenge also continues to remain at Balewadi. But again, one of the most promising locations, I think, of Pune. The prices continue to hover at about 6,000, 7,000 maximum per square foot, which is a good range to be in. So I think from a pricing perspective, location perspective, it is obviously better from its Baner or around its cousins or its peripheral destinations. And to that extent, I see actually Balewadi appreciating, where people who are not able to go for 7, 8, 9,000 rupee prices, more 9,000 than 7,000 in Aund and Pune, will prefer to continue to come into Balewadi and access the infill locations in its vicinity. And therefore, the upside potential is actually much higher in Balewadi. As far as developments are concerned, I think it continues to offer a lot of opportunities in the 70 lakh to a crore bracket, which is again a very sweet spot sort of a bracket within the infill or mid-market Pune product. So that, I think, also goes very well within that. And so I think clearly, I think it is one of the more preferred sort of destinations. And again, I mean, you'll see that prices have gone up. It's kind of come down.
And at this point in time, you just have to look out of a window in a flat in Balewadi and see that stadium and see the IPL matches going on, and you would know whether or not there is promise over there. But having said that, Amit, he has a very interesting question. He asks, what is the price to pay in Balewadi?
See, we said the price is between 6,000 and 6,500, to be very honest. I mean, the chart does show 6,800 to 7,000. But clearly, I think the products which are being sold, including in secondary markets, I think people are willing to trade at within 6,500 rupees a square foot. I would be more comfortable closer to 6,000, because the more it tends to go towards 7,000, I have opportunities already emerging in Aund and Baner, where the upside is clearly better because it's already a very, very
so there you go, Ajay.
Location.
6,825 rupees per square foot is the average rate in Balewadi, but 6,500 is what you should be pushing for if you're looking to invest in that market. Moving on to Samantha's question now. She says, I want to buy 2 BHK with a budget of around 1 crore rupees. This is for investment, and I'm looking at high returns in the next 5 years. Which is the best area to make an investment in Pune? And she has a laundry list. She's saying Kharadi, Keshav Nagar, Hadapsar, Kalyani Nagar, Viman Nagar, Wagholi. She's given you 5 locations, Amit. Which would you pick?
See, I think first of all, there's a bias towards East Pune. So clearly, I think it's good because you like East Pune. East Pune is a good location.
Probably works over there.
I guess. I mean, I won't be surprised as well. I mean, so yes, I mean, these are all largely East Pune properties. You haven't really looked at North Pune, or you haven't really looked at West of Pune, like we discussed in the earlier question. But so I think these are obviously very, very key markets. Amongst them, if you see the products which have the lower price band would fall within the Hadapsar zone. Because obviously Kalyani Nagar and Kharadi are obviously far more expensive. You can also look at Wagholi, which is again slightly on the lower price curve, which is both within the 4,000, 4,500 rupees a square foot. Because today the average price of Pune has gone to about 5,750 rupees, which means that if you're buying below the average, and I'm not talking of the industrial belts, and I'm not talking of the affordable housing belts, I'm really talking about the infill locations, which is what you're preferring. So within that, I think Wagholi and Hadapsar still form part of options where you can get better price opportunities compared to a Kalyani Nagar, which is obviously gone way beyond the curve. You'll start looking at 8,000, 10,000, or Viman Nagar, obviously, which is again starting at about 7,000, going up to even 12,000 rupees. So therefore, there is a limited upside in my view, because Puneites don't tend to, and whether you're a Punekari or a Puneite, again, I don't know, but again, there is a lower propensity to pay above a certain price threshold in any of these markets. So first look at within these 2 locations within your choice. I think there are a number of ready possession properties available which will come within that price bracket that you're looking at. Second is, I don't think you should expect extraordinary or abnormal gains in Pune for the next 2 to 3 years. I think the market has a fair share of delivery being offered. FSI has gone up. The new master plan of Pune has opened up a lot more locations in Pune, and that has led to obviously a very huge
So you're saying Wagholi or Hadapsar, and what should she be buying over here, because she's looking for investment? 1 BHK, 2 BHK, 3 BHK. What is the...
I think 2 BHK is the flavor as
popular.
well in most of these locations. 3 BHK is hard to rent and dispose of. So I think 1 BHK again Punekaris don't really like that much. So I think it's usually a 2.5 BHK which
2
works.
BHK with a small terrace is what Punekars generally prefer. Wagholi at 4,720 rupees per square foot, and Hadapsar averaging 5,675 rupees per square foot, which Amit also pointed out is a sweet spot of the Pune market. So those are the two markets that you should essentially be looking at. So Samantha, go out, identify the property, narrow down your choices and come back to us, and then we'll help you a little more. With that, we come to an end of this episode of Property Hotline. Amit, thank you very much for coming in and answering all these questions.
Thank you very much, Kavita. It's been a real pleasure.
Any question on real estate, send it in to us, and we'll ensure that the country's biggest experts answer your questions. Thank you for watching.